Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Tom Stewart here. I'm with Liz Trotter. Our guest today is Greg Shepard, and this is Smart Business Moves.
Woohoo! We have not been here all together in a while. I'm excited.
Hey,
Greg, how the heck are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited for today's show. Profit and building value. Um, it's so important, and frankly, I think that's where a lot of owners mess up. Is not watching their profit margins. I think that. Okay, I'm going to sum up the entire show. What I'm going to say in one sentence. All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. You must compete on quality. Don't compete on price. That was two sentences, but anyway, you got it. And it's so important to make sure you're priced right. I think that's the biggest mistake I see most owners make is they think they have to have lower pricing to get business, and that's not true. That is absolutely not true. I've talked to you guys before about buying other businesses, and that was always that was the most common reason for a business to selling. They didn't price their product right, their service right, and they weren't making any profits.
Yeah.
And I guess it's sort of, people can be very nervous raising your pricing. You're thinking that you raise your pricing, your customers won't be happy. But that is so not true. And in fact, if you raise your pricing above the competition, you'll find that you'll be able to have not only bigger profits, but you'll have the money in order to provide that quality service. You'll have the money to be able to find and keep quality people. You'll have the money to market properly. And it's amazing with a little bit of increase in your prices, how much profit that can bring into your business.
Oh my God.
That would be what I'm going to focus today is compete on quality, not on price. And to do that, you got to price your services correctly.
Hey.
And, I'm thinking that's probably more important now than ever with what's happening with prices in general and inflation. If you aren't now is not the time to be competing on price because whatever it is that you're charging, if you're charging what you used to charge, you aren't charging enough.
Yeah.
You
can't afford it.
You're absolutely right, Tom. And I'm assuming that if you're listening to this podcast, you have a house cleaning service. That means that you've survived the pandemic. I'm sure you guys probably experienced the deluge, the flood of business that came in.
Oh my God.
Once the pandemic had subsided.
Yeah.
And my only guess, there was pent-up demand, but there was more demand than would account for that. My guess is that maybe not every maid service made it through.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, right now, just because the demand's high, you need to adjust your pricing. It's basic supply and demand. Because I think right now, the markets, there's not enough supply to meet demand, which is, if you have a maid service right now, this is a golden opportunity. It's amazing.
It's so
when you refer to supply, are you talking about companies or are you talking about companies who can't find enough cleaning professionals?
I'm just talking about maid services. That's the only thing I can think of that why we've grown so much. I'm sure you have the same problem. Was it last year in March, April, where we were caught off guard. We didn't have enough people to match demand, and that was frustrating. But it was an opportunity for us to actually streamline our interviewing process and to find good talent quickly and get them hired quickly. So it made the business stronger.
Well, Greg, I have a question. I have a question for you. Did I just hear you say that you are no longer having the problem that you have too much demand and not enough employees? Did I just hear you say that?
Yes, actually. One of the things I did, okay, there's a few things. We had a very selective hiring process.
Okay.
I found out quickly that we need to get people in here quickly. So I pretty much streamlined our interviewing process. Didn't realize the fluff that we didn't really need, basically to get people go through the quantity, go through hundreds of applicants to find that quality and to get them hired as quickly as possible. And making sure that the ones that we hire will stay around and that they produce quality work. So I went ahead and hired, or actually I didn't hire, but I actually moved one of my VAs to hiring to be a recruiter. And so his job was to post that job everywhere and get as many applicants as he could, calling hundreds and hundreds of applicants. And so he devoted his full time to this. And he took on hundreds of calls and was able to find the very few quality applicants that we could actually have for an office interview and a quick audition. Audition is basically sending them out with one of our top teams so they can actually see them, see how they work before we hire them. We pay them for the day as an IC, but seeing how they work, then we knew what we were going to get, and we knew whether we should hire them or not. And so we were able to find a lot of good people during that time.
Okay. So I heard three things. One, you streamlined your process, you simplified it, shortened the time frame between application and hire. And then I also heard that you brought on, or that you hired somebody to just run through massive quantities, one person to do the whole process, and they just run through applicants. And then third thing is that you are putting them out in the field day one with an experienced team to get a feel for. And I think I heard you say that you hired them on for that day as an IC, independent contractor.
Yes.
Yeah? And just for that one day, was that right?
Just that one day. And
okay.
My team then reports back, and we know whether they're going to be a star, 5-star cleaner or not. And that's one of the, if you have a maid service, do that, because one, the ones that you hire will be with you for a long time, and you know that they're good. You've seen them in action. Two, your training period, ours went from 2 weeks down to a few days. And three, lower turnover rates. You know that this person is most likely going to work out, and having a high turnover rate, that sucks.
Agreed.
Ours is way.
It's expensive.
It's way low.
Yeah,
we just want to find quality people and keep them.
Especially if we're talking about profit, it's not good for the profit.
No.
No.
So we get that 5-star cleaner, and they're giving our customers 5-star cleanings, and that keeps our quality up, and that keeps our customers coming back, and that's how you compete on quality rather than price. Yes, our pricing is a little bit higher than average. Frankly, we should raise it. We've raised it a couple of times since the pandemic, and we should raise it again because, demand's not slowing. And by the way, anybody, if you're afraid about raising your pricing, just do it for a week. See what happens. You'll be able to measure how many customers you get then, and compared to what you had gotten last week, and you'll see most likely, you'll see that the business hasn't dropped off. And if your prices are super low, you might actually see your pricing rise. Not pricing rise, but your number of customers rise.
Yeah, the people that come on.
Yeah, that reminds me of a study back at college at university, and it was a marketing course, and there was a company. I forget the details. Basically, there was a company that had superior products for cheaper than competition. Right, superior than the competition, but yet cheaper than competition. You think that'd be a winner? It failed. they found by raising their pricing to match the competition, actually a little bit higher than the competition, the product took off.
Yeah.
People
Absolutely.
associate price with quality.
Perception. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like it or not. And
And
even if you think you don't, you do.
they do. And,
Yeah.
you know, like I said, if your price is higher than average, then you have the money to afford and keep good people. Um,
I
your
wrote
cleaning
that
staff.
down. I wrote that down when you said it, and I wrote a check mark, and then I wrote a check mark because you've now said it 3 times. And I love that. You said if you raise your prices, you'll have the money to do the things you need to do. You said you'll have the money, you'll have the money. And I love that idea of you will have the money, because so much of the time we hear people say, I can't afford to do that. I can't afford to do that. I can't afford to do that. Raise your prices.
Hmm.
I want to say real quick, I want to say hi. We've got Whitney over here. We've got Sophia from Jamaica, West Indies, and we've got Judith. So hi, y'all. Good to see you here back on Smart Business Moves. We were away for, well, actually, we were never away. Tom, did you do it last week?
Yeah, we were here with Diana and her daughter.
Yeah, and I was on the week before, so you guys didn't experience it, but we did. I feel like I missed you guys. I was gone for 1 week, and I'm like, oh, look, everybody's here. So good to see you all. I'm curious, with the 3 of you, Whitney, Sophia, and Judith, have you guys raised your prices recently? You hear Greg saying that how important it is to raise your prices, and I'm sure you also heard him say he's raised his prices a couple of times since the pandemic, and he's looking at potentially raising them again. So how about you guys? Have you raised your prices? And yes, good job, Judith. And when was the last time you raised them? Have you raised them recently? Are you going to raise them again? Raised mine a couple of times. Hey, Pam. Yes, good. I'm glad everybody's raising their prices. How about you, Whitney, Sophia? 10% across the board. Nice. And you said you've done it a couple times. November. Nice. All right. So looks like everybody is on board with getting your prices up where they belong, and starting to make some more money so that we'll have money.
And you know, the timing for that, not because we were talking about the inflation part of it, but there's another part of it as well that goes along with that, that people are kind of programmed at the moment thinking that everything should be costing more. And there's kind of a nerdy economic term called elasticity of demand. And in a normal world, if the price goes up, the demand goes down. But demand is relatively inelastic at the moment. People are charging more, in some cases a lot more, and they're still people are still buying it at the same rate. So the odds of like losing business or not getting new business because you're raising your rates is a lot lower now than what it is under normal times. And you know, there's some thought that maybe we'll see the economy slowing down, you know, sometime next year, maybe because of some of these same economic factors, and it won't be nearly as easy to raise your rate. So for all of those reasons, we want to do it now.
Well, I love that all the Smart Business Moves watchers all have raised their prices in the last few months. And it looks like Linda is the last to raise her prices in September, and she's doing it again this month. So that's only 6 months out. I remember when we would talk to people about raising their prices once a year, and we would get so much pushback.
Yeah.
Right. And
There's
now
there's no rule saying that you can only do it once a year. And
yeah.
this is for like existing customers. You can just go back and say, hey, I know that we did a rate increase 6 months ago. I really hate to do this, but gas is, who knows how much a gallon and this and that. And, you know, I have to do this so I can responsibly provide you with the quality of service that you're used to. Back to Greg's point, I can't give you quality service if I'm not charging enough to do it.
Yep. Love the message. I love
Also,
that.
an opportunity to get rid of the customer that you may not want. If you have some troublesome customers, you can raise the price a little bit more than the rest, and hope that they might leave.
And when demand is high, that's the best opportunity, right? When demand is high, that's our number one opportunity to be able to cull from the bottom, get rid of the people, let them go get cleaned by somebody who's charging less money. Yay. We don't want that.
Mhm.
And your quality will improve. If another maid service owner told me years ago, she called them 2%ers. You heard of the 80-20 rule. Well, this is the 2%, 98% rule. 2% of your customers will cause 98% of your problems. Get rid of them, and your staff, well, not only will their morale rise, but they'll actually have more time to dedicate and allocate to customers that deserve your service, because the 2% tend to be the ones that take up most of your time with complaints, demands, and such. So overall, it improves your service. So if you can, fire those bad customers. And doing a price increase is a nice way to fire them with minimal, I guess, pushback.
Yeah. You can find a nice way to let people go. And now that's even easier than it ever was before, too. I love what Judith has to say here. So even if you get pushback, great exercise. If you lose 20%, which is a big number, it's rare to lose that much. Even if you lost 20%, though, you're going to make it up in the 80% with the increases. Absolutely. Yeah. And you get rid of the customers who aren't promoters. Absolutely. I love that too. Those are not the people who love you. The people who are going to drop you over your price increase, they don't love you. They don't spread your name around saying how amazing you are. Good. Let them go work with someone else. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't want to say you would never lose 20%, but that is, normally 2-3%, maybe. And every once in a while you got a customer that's grossly underpriced and something happened along the way that, that almost doesn't count. If you double their rate, then kind of like Greg's point, it's the what they call it, the PETA tax, that you charge somebody, a lot more than what you would normally. And then they'll quit, and half the time they'll find out that the other service is like not nearly as good as you were, and they'll want to crawl back.
Yep.
That's a whole nother discussion.
But actually, it's to this discussion as well, because that is another way that you can add value. Another thing you can do is when they leave, you can always send them out the is the grass still greener email, right? Yeah, you can send that out 3 months in, 6 months in, and give them an easy way to come back. Because for some people, they can't come back after they've left. That's a pride thing, or they're embarrassed. So giving them a nice, easy way, that's another way to be able to provide some value there.
And some of them will. It's like, well, I really didn't feel comfortable calling, but since you reached out to me, these new guys really suck.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I think this is what everybody is having happen right now. She raised 61 customers, lost none. That's what we're saying. That's what everyone is seeing. Back in the day, I know people were really nervous about raising prices, so they'd raise them like 10 at a time. I'll raise 10 this week. I'll raise 10 next week. I'll raise 10 the week after that, because in case I lose them all. Nobody ever lost all their customers anyway. That was never a thing, but people are afraid. And so they thought that this was a safer method. But right now, the percentages that people are losing are so tiny that, well, and I don't know why I'm preaching to you guys. Looks like I'm preaching to the choir over here. Y'all have been raising your prices really regularly. So I'm going to stop now. Looks like y'all got that.
Our job here is done.
I know. Yeah. All right. But talk to us some more, Greg, about how we can add more value. So we're going to raise our prices. Great. Looks like everybody's on board with this plan. And then what do we do to increase the value? This is one of the things that a lot of people struggle with, is this idea of how can everybody does the same thing? How can I find my unique selling proposition, or my thing that I do better than the other people in my area? Well, how do we do that?
Well, raise pricing. One, you can afford the best people and keep them. As we talked about, get rid of your bad customers. Your staff will have more time to allocate to the customers that deserve your service. Here's something that I found to be really useful at Dallas Maids and Emily's Maids is, for example, right now we're looking to hire office manager in the office, and part of our interviewing process for the office staff is we have them take a DISC assessment, and we use the steering group. They've been fantastic. And what this does, and actually I have one right here, you go through your applicants, you find 3 of your top applicants, they seem perfect. You have them take the DISC assessment, and Joe over there, yeah, you got it. And so you talk to Joe. Joe's the guy who's with the steering group, and he'll walk you through why this applicant's perfect for this job. And it's great. After a while, you learn what to look for in people, and you find the best candidates, the right people rather. You find the right people for the right job who's going to give your customers the best service they'll take care of your staff, because frankly, management makes all the difference in the business. You've got to have the right management taking care of your people and taking care of the customers. And that right there is probably going to be one of the biggest things that you do to add value to your service. So not only are these great for finding the right people, but if you need to have a delicate conversation with one of your people, I always reference this so I know how to best communicate with them in a very effective manner. So these are, invaluable. So I'm glad you have that, Liz. That's awesome.
So I actually also sell those DISC assessments through Cleaning Profit Builders.
Oh.
And I do those assessments with people. So I am a huge advocate of doing the DISC assessment. It's a little pricey for cleaning professionals, but like you said, it's for your office. So I love that you're saying that. I think it's spot on there, Greg, spot on. I also love the motivator section, right? There's the whole second half of the behavioral assessment is the motivators section. And so many times we try to motivate our people to do good work by doing things that are not actually motivating to the people that work for us. We are not like the people that work for us. People that run their businesses, go out of their way not to have jobs, are not motivated by the same thing that people who want jobs and have jobs are motivated by. So I love that section as well. I think it's super useful. I thought I wasn't reading quickly enough, Judith. So I thought you were going to say that you had fallen in love with Greg when I read that you had fallen on the same tree. I was going to say that you wouldn't be the first person. A lot of people fall in love with him. So ours is customer service. Get back to everyone within 24 hours. So there is an idea. Have y'all read, what's the name of the book? What's the name of the book with the QBR? Anybody? Tom?
QBR.
I just read it. I just had it in book talk last month. You'd think I'd be able to remember. It's Mike McCallowit's book, Clockwork. All right. So if you haven't read Clockwork, you might consider reading Clockwork. They talk about the QBR, which is the queen bee role. It is the role in your company that you want to protect. Yes, Linda, thank you. That you want to protect at all costs. This is the role that in your company makes or breaks you. Right? And I love this idea of the QBR. I think it sounds like that's what Judith is talking about too, that customer service. Your customer service is that QBR for you. If you can't make that happen, if you can make that happen consistently and persistently, you will be successful. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, finding the right people for customer service is so important. You want to find somebody that is warm, friendly, able to connect with people. You want someone that's likable, because if you have somebody on the phone with your customers that is ultra likable, your customers are not only more apt to buy your service, but they're actually more apt to forgive you when you mess up.
Good point.
Yeah, it's one thing that's hardwired into our brains, each and every one of us. So if you want to make people buy your service, and you want to make them to be more understanding and forgiving of you, then you want a really friendly person on those phones with customers.
So we're talking about your little high eye over there, right, Greg?
Yes.
We want some high eyes.
Yes. And this is, and here's a study. I can't remember where I read it, but it's fascinating, and I bet you can probably Google it. So it was a study on malpractice for doctors. What doctors got the most malpractice lawsuits? And what they found was that there was not a correlation between how skilled the doctor was. The correlation about whether he's going to get a lawsuit or not was how friendly he was, how likable he was. If he was likable, less lawsuits.
I believe it.
Ain't that crazy?
I totally believe that. I don't even think that sounds crazy. I think that sounds complete. I'm not going to file a malpractice suit against a doctor that I think is so friendly and so nice and so helpful, unless it's really, really, really serious. It's going to have to be a lot. But if the guy's a jerk or the woman is a jerk, yeah, I'm hair trigger. I'm ready. Just drop of a hat, right? Not that I would do that, but on other things, that's the case. Who am I going to yell at? Right? I'm not going to yell at the super friendly, super nice person. I'm going to yell at the person that is already. So I completely believe that.
So there you go. Find the right people to man the phones, find the right people to manage your people, and that adds incredible value.
And Greg, I'm sorry, please go ahead.
Oh, just make sure your prices are high enough where you can afford and keep the best quality talent.
One more check mark next to that.
We've are like halfway into this discussion, and we really haven't touched upon something that I think is unique to Greg and the way he approaches creating value that I think would be worth bringing up as well. Is you have two separate cleaning companies, two separate brands with two separate approaches to service delivery in the same market in Dallas. And as a side note, they both rank incredibly high from an SEO standpoint. But you roll all that together, how does that fit into creating value?
Hold on, before Greg answers. Greg, you were like a dog at the races. You just jumped right in. We didn't even have a chance to introduce you. So
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Do it.
Right? I mean, he was we're on. Let's go.
It's like, I'm going to sit back and watch. Cool.
I know. I'm like, wow, you get on it here. All right, Tom, you want to tell us what you give us a rundown about Greg, just because you already started with that.
Well, Greg, owns and operates two different cleaning businesses and a very competitive market, Dallas, Texas. The actual brands, one of them is Dallas Maids, and the other one is called what's the name of your
Memphis Maids?
And I'm going to do a screen share here, and maybe.
Oh, I love it. Are you going to show them 1 and 2 on there?
Yeah, we're gonna see what happens here, and here you go.
So, Greg, how long have you been in the cleaning business? While Tom's pulling this up.
Sure. Well, Dallas Maids I founded in 2004, so that's been 18 years.
Yep.
Here we go. So we have Dallas Maids, Emily's Maids, Modern Maids. Yep. They've actually put a little fire under my butt, and I've been working my SEO because of them. But it's just a matter of time till I outrate them.
But you're ranking both on the front page and 2 to 3 slots in the map pack. Yeah,
That's
Modern
great.
Maze kind of came out of nowhere. How long? What? Everybody give them a bad review. I'm kidding. No, 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 no. But you, know, you
But they
guys,
came
you
out of
guys
the
doing
woodwork.
awesome. Yeah, there's out of nowhere, right?
Poor Greg, he can't hear us very well.
Yeah, I can hear you now. So I'm glad you brought that up, Tom. My two maid services. You know, so Emily's Maids, I started that with the idea of sending customers that thought Dallas Maids was too high in price to the second lower cost maid service. So I did everything I could to um, make it just a lean, green cleaning machine. So I try to cut costs everywhere. But the prices, frankly, the prices have been rising for Emily's Maids. It's not as cheap as it used to be because frankly, I thought I could make a cheaper maid service. But you know what? No, you got to raise pricing. So now Dallas Maids is is a higher than average. But I think Emily's is probably more around average now. But if someone calls Dallas Maids and think our pricing's still too high, my office staff still says, "Hey, you got to check out Emily's Maids." But yeah, they've both been good. And not only is that was the original purpose was to funnel those customers the cost conscious customers to my second maid service. But actually having two maid services, the other benefit was just the synergy between them. If we didn't have enough, cleaners one day, we could just hire the other maid service and cover for each other. So it's the synergy between them has actually improved both services, which is quite nice.
Yeah. I've always thought that it was amazing. I started to try and do something like this at one point in time, a couple years back, and it was so much harder than I thought it was going to be. Started going okay in the beginning, but we quickly decided, yeah, this is not for us. It is difficult.
It is. And, we did this a long time ago with an acquisition and we branded it a different company and we ran them separately. And the other company was a lower price point to Castle Keepers. And after a couple of years, basically, we just kind of took what customers we had in the lower price service and rolled them back into Castle Keepers and kept going. So you've really been successful at doing something here, Greg, that I've seen people try it before, but not many people have been successful with it. You
Yeah.
certainly have been.
Yeah, it's just companies actually do this all the time. For example, you go to the cereal aisle and you have Raisin Bran, and then you have the generic version, right? The generic version, of course, is cheaper, but they're usually the same product because those who produce Raisin Bran, they want the ones that will pay just for the brand name. That's it. And then they want the other ones that want, are more cost conscious. Same product, just different labeling.
But I do have to say, Greg, for a lot of people, that one with the brand name, it does taste better. Ask them, they'll tell you. Right?
There's a higher level of trust. They
Yes.
grew up with that and they trust Tony the Tiger, who knows what's in the generic stuff.
Yeah.
This is
But I know
interesting.
it's not as good. Even if I haven't tasted it, I know it's not as good as the name brand.
So I've got a 1 bed, 1 bath every other week service for 101.21. I go to Dallas Maids, similar motif for 102.85. So it's $1.50 cheaper over here. So you're not giving away a whole lot with your economy service.
Yeah, try a bigger house.
Okay.
And definitely try the detail clean. Detail clean, you'll see definitely the difference. But go to your houses. 3-bedroom, 2-bath is usually the most common here. But yeah, go 5-4. see what happens.
So 266, 262. So I'm still.
Oh,
less
well,
than-
hey, not much
not
difference.
much, yeah.
Well, that's what you said, Greg. You said that you started raising their prices, and there was
I
no
need to
reason
raise-
to have it be
I need to
lower.
raise Dallas Maids pricing again.
Emily's is catching you. You got to go.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do a deep clean. He said that on the detail clean. Did you see him go over there and write a note? I saw that, Greg. I saw you lean over and write a note. Raise prices at Dallas Maids. I saw
That's
that.
exactly what I wrote.
I know.
You're welcome,
saw you.
Greg.
Thank you.
We're glad to help.
Yeah, I love that.
How do I change the scope of work to detail clean? How do I change it to detail clean? Would that be a one-time clean?
Oh, okay. Sorry, Tom. I didn't hear you for a second. Just click on schedule an appointment, and then under extras, pick the deep clean.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
You
great.
don't want me to. You don't want me to do all of this, though.
Nah, just pick the deep clean, and you'll see.
You don't want me to put a credit card in here. I know.
I think he probably does, Tom.
No. I wouldn't want to do that to you.
No. All right. Best house cleaning service in Dallas. I love that. I love that you have the best house cleaning service in Dallas by CBS. That's awesome too.
Social proof. You got to use it. If you have any recognition like that, make sure your people see it. The social proof is one of those other things which people think they have a choice, but they don't. They're actually programmed to buy from you if they see that other people have already chosen you. Whether you drive past a restaurant, let's say you drive by 2 restaurants. One's empty, the other one has a long line. Which one are you going to go to?
Yeah.
You know the one with the long line has good food. So people, and this is again one of the things that are programmed in our mind is we will go with the company that has already been approved by a third party. So yeah, if you have some parties, legitimate, not parties, but awards, make sure that they're somewhere where where people can see them.
Yeah, that's a different type of value than we normally talk about, right? When people are talking about increasing the value in your company so that you can have more profit, usually what they say is, what kind of free services can you add on? What kind of extra things can you do? But really, social proof, that's more valuable. That's the trust factor.
So this says CBS TV. This is interesting. So this isn't necessarily an award. This was something that CBS TV said. So I'm assuming this was like a local affiliate with CBS TV. And
Yes.
were they interviewing you, Greg? And you were quoted as saying best house cleaning service in Dallas on CBS TV?
No. I had no idea. I found it, and I was a really pleasant surprise when I found it. They had a place on their website, the TV station website, with what they said. They thought these are the best. I think there was 3 or 4 maid services in the DFW area, and there's Emily's Maids. I don't know how they found us, but I'll take it. And you'll be able to find a link to the article on my website there. But I'm going to put that right on the very top where everybody can see that.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. Yeah, that social proof really makes a huge difference. Well, it really is the exact same thing as why a lot of people buy Raisin Bran instead of the fake version, right? The generic version. Actually, even right there, I call it fake, the fake version.
Yeah.
I know that
it's real. It's just
it's real.
Okay, check out what I just did here. Best house cleaning service in Dallas. I just Googled best house cleaning service in Dallas. I'm going to scroll down here on the first page and cbslocal.com.
Oh, there you go.
There it is, right there. Dang, that's nice.
And I'm somewhere in here.
Do a search on your browser.
It's in there somewhere, or at least it was
But you know
certainly.
what? If you were reading that, you wouldn't even need to go find the article. Seeing it,
Mhm.
clicking on it, not being able to find it, that's good enough. I was like, oh, that's awesome that it's CBS.
Oh, hey, hold on. Wow, I'm so glad you looked that up. Um, I I have the link on my website. You go to the very bottom, you see award-winning service, and then you'll see you know the CBS TV voted best house cleaning. Anyway, I clicked there and I clicked the link to the article, um, but they must take the article down because it's no longer there. So that's something I need to correct. Um,
Wait a minute. Is this
It's
it?
here.
yeah, but you scroll down a little bit and you will see the source,
Oh,
and you click there.
Oh.
Yeah, and they removed it. But
It takes them. It
well,
takes you
one,
back to the
thank you
same
for bringing that
page.
up because I need to fix that. But what I'm going to do after I get off this call is I'm going to go online. There's the Wayback Machine, the Internet Archive. And so you're
yeah.
able to go on there and see old pages. And you bet I'm going to take a little screenshot of that and put it right
Yeah.
there so everybody can see it.
Awesome.
Okay.
Boy, we have really helped you out today, haven't we, Greg? We're so glad we brought
have.
you on as a guest. You're lucky that we asked you to help us out.
Liz normally charges people for this, so you're getting a deal.
That's good. I'm glad everybody's getting a little bit out of this today. So I really like that when you're thinking about value, Greg, you're thinking about it in a completely different way than what we normally hear from people. Instead of trying to add on things, you're just making what you already have the best. So making sure that you have the best people, they'll provide the best service, making sure that you have the best social proof, that then people will see you as the best automatically. I like this. I feel like it's a fresher approach than what we normally hear.
Yeah. They can see you as the best, and that's great to get them in the door, but you got to be the best to keep them. And my focus is I want to make sure the customer's happy. Study after study, I'm sure you probably already know this. Hiring a maid service is one of those things that can actually make you happier. When you come home to a clean house, it takes away the stress and it makes you happy. So we're not in the cleaning business, Liz. We're in the happiness business. So
We make you
I want to
happy.
focus on making my customers happy. I want them, make them happy, and they'll make you happy.
I like that angle better than trying to give you your time back. I feel like trying to give you your time back has been around for so long that it's too much of a catchphrase now, that it doesn't have meaning anymore. Everybody has been saying it for so long, but I like the happiness factor. I like that little piece there. Rochelle is saying that you're so generous with your time and knowledge. Hey, Rochelle, good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while.
Hey, Rose. Thanks, Michelle.
Yeah. So are you, Rochelle. That's why you appreciate that. She's also very, very generous with her time and knowledge. So one of the things that you mentioned earlier, Greg, was that if you hire the best, then they will automatically start doing better service and providing higher quality work for your employees. For your customers. So, but you also had Emily's Maids that was charging less. So, tell us about that difference there. Did you hire a lower quality, a lower caliber person at Emily's Maids? Was that part of the strategy, or
No, you can't. You couldn't do that. When I started Emily's, it was actually Emily's personnel service. It was not technically a maid service. It was we actually matched housekeepers with homeowners was our motto. Anyway, it was I forgot. It's the
More of like a replacement service. You were
yes, exactly, and that that allowed us to have independent contractors, and that was one way to keep the price low. Two, I hired the office staff was virtual. We leveraged um, overseas talent. Um, the living standards in countries differ throughout, so we got our office staff was virtual, and other things too. Being an independent contractor, you're or having them, you were able to avoid a lot of costs like insurance and benefits and stuff like that. But but um, even though legally we were on the right side of IC, Texas came in and said, "Hey, no, you got to have employees." So we had to switch over to employees, and that raised the price a little more. And then you want other things such as insurance and benefits, so that raised the price a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it was interesting, Liz and Tom. You're raising the pricing, and there was no drop off in demand. So what's as you can see, what's to stop you from raising a little bit more? So that those are ways. At the beginning, our pricing was much lower, but frankly, like I said, from the very beginning, you want to compete on quality, not on price. And for me, that was a real life case study of just that.
Yeah. Well, I think that you have the proof right there on the website. We can see right there. Google is your proof. Look here. Especially, I know that you want to raise Dallas Maids prices right now, but what we're seeing is your prices are pretty much the same. And so you have been able to
They
raise.
won't be after the show.
But to your point, you've been able to raise your rates even on your low company up to the point of one of the higher price companies in the area. So I love that. Well, does anybody have any questions for Greg? I know that Tom, we said we wanted to try and ask if anybody had questions more often because, well, I was going to say we
But we want to ask our questions first, so we just never get around to that. So sorry, folks. We'll work harder on that.
All right. So, anybody have any questions for Greg? Go ahead, and if you do, put them in the comments. Otherwise, we're just going to keep talking because I always have more questions. It's part of my, I think it's part of my genetic makeup that I never really run out of questions. How about you, Tom? Do you have anything?
I just think it's really cool the way that you structure your businesses and they complement each other. And do you see that having that structure, is that like more of an advantage now that, you know, prices are going up and you've got pricing power and the demand is higher, that synergy? I mean, you were successful with that model pre-COVID, but now that we are in this special time, do you see like, is it like Powerball? Is it just like an extra boost you're getting out of that business model?
Extra boost as in?
Extra, I mean, you're able to generate more revenue through the synergy than what two separate companies could by themselves, and the pricing power and everything, you know, the existing economy,
Gotcha.
You know, a two company model, does that have any particular advantages when the economy is really hot like it is now?
Gotcha. No, yeah, like I said, and by the way, Tom, sorry, you were breaking up there. That's why I couldn't hear you. But absolutely, that both companies, like I said earlier, are better because they work with each other. And you know, you don't even have to have another company. You know, even before Emily's Maids, I had worked closely with other maid services, and we really helped each other out. So yeah, just working with whether it's your other maid service or whether with another owner of another maid service, it only lifts you up. And you know, that's actually one of the things that that was my view from the very beginning when I started Dallas Maids. I didn't really see the competition as competition. There was plenty of business out there. I saw them more as as partners, and that really helps out a lot. You know, when I started out, I had a lot of owners that really helped me improve my business starting out, and you know, now it's great. And you know, Rochelle, that's why I love helping other people, because it's now my chance to give back just a little bit of what other owners have given me. I guess I got on a little bit of a tangent there, but yeah, having two maid services, the synergy between them, even passing employees from one to the other. For example, I had Vicky, who had worked at Dallas Maids for years, and she had a personality problem with someone else, but Vicky's one of the best maids, house cleaners I've ever had. So she left Dallas Maids, but I was able to bring her into Emily's.
Nice.
Exactly. So little things like that, which has really lifted up both businesses.
Well, Rochelle has a question here that goes to this as well. If this is one of the ways that you can use the two companies, she wants to know if you have one office that fields all the phone calls for both services and dispatches both, or do you have each office running itself separately?
Nope. I have one office, and you can go to Dallas Maids and under About Us and take a view. I love my office. We have one office, and you know, before I had at Emily's Maids, I had a virtual office manager, but actually now I have an office manager that's in the office. So it's the same office, still separate companies, separate staff, separate cleaners. But I found having someone here locally for Emily's Maids instead of virtually, I found it really even adds more to the synergy, because you know, if someone's here in the office, they can just yell over in the next room and say, "Hey, you know, you got room? I'm packed this day." And also, it's great because you got more people; they're able to cover each other. So both cleaning companies are in the same office. The only, I guess, Emily's Maids' official office is not this address, but rather another address, or rental property I have. And so that way I have two addresses, which you need separate addresses for Google My Business, which is good for SEO. So that's the reason behind that.
Okay, that makes good sense to me. All right, I kind of like what you said about having them in the same office building, but in separate offices, so they can kind of yell back and forth and get a little synergy that way as well. Well, the thing I wanted to ask about was the profit margin. So you have your profit with Dallas Maids, obviously. What are we looking at here? P&L?
Well, I had a feeling that you would. Yep. Okay, let me tell you something, Liz.
Okay, I'm excited.
I didn't really know. I should really keep up with my profit margin. I don't. But so anyway, this is from 2021.
Okay.
And 33.97%, 34%.
Holy cow.
What?
Heck yeah.
Amazing.
I know. Here, you want to take a screenshot?
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. It's too small to see, but that's amazing. Is that for both companies or Dallas Maids?
I don't know Emily's. I didn't get the PL for that, but
I wouldn't say Emily's Maids is probably 33.92, not 97.
Yes. It's that $1.50 difference on a job would make a difference, I guess.
Wow, that's amazing. I like seeing that. You know what? That is a really great way to end this show. Listen, if you don't think that now is the time to be raising prices so that you can have the money that you need to hire the best people so that you can continue to raise prices, have better people, provide better service, and to compete on quality, then I don't think there's better proof than that. 33.97% profit, and 1 and 3, I think, in the map pack. That's pretty compelling argument for your point there, Craig.
That is about as good as it gets.
And
truly.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I'm usually those kind of numbers we're seeing closer to independent contractors, right?
Uh,
Crazy.
Probably so. Um,
if that actually.
Yeah, actually, if that. Yeah, but definitely closer. Not with employees. You don't see that very often at all. So I work with a lot of cleaning businesses, and we talk about net profit all the time within our strategic success circles. And yeah, I think that's probably the best profit margin that I have seen in quite a while. So it's pretty impressive. I like it. I'm jealous, but I like it.
Well, this is a good place to end. I mean, we've kind of set the bar high.
Yeah.
We're going to be covering this topic, I guess, for the balance of April. We're going to be back, next Wednesday, 5 o'clock Eastern. Greg, as always, thank you for sharing and being part of Smart Business Moves today. I mean, you're an awesome operator and you're an awesome person too. We
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure. Had fun. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Thank you, Greg. All right, y'all.
So,
See you next week.
bye bye.
Bye, y'all.